is awkward.
How am I coming in? Coming on loud, clear?
Yeah, dude, you're good. I hear you loud and clear. How are you?
Not bad. Feel like I need this COVID thing to end. I'm getting anxious to go back to shows.
Yeah, there was actually one in Sacramento last night. I didn't even know about it, but I saw people posting about it. So I guess they're happening. You just gotta, I guess, get invited or know who's throwing it.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Nothing but losers. We're actually doing a private birthday. I was just talking to JoJo a few minutes ago, and he was telling me that a lot of the scene's already been vaccinated.
Yeah.
So, it's happening. We're getting over this. We just, just a little bit more patience. In the meantime, I'm just doing a lot of podcasting, talking with a lot of the scene over the computer screen. It just keeps me still in the scene while I'm not able to go out to see you guys. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm honestly stoked to come back to Modesto sometime or, whatever happens. So, something that I like to do on the podcast, I'm not sure if you've listened to any of them, but, the first thing I like to do is, finding out, like, how are you as an individual doing, through all this stuff going on?
I'm sorry, say that one more time. How am I what?
How are you doing through everything that's going on? Like, I know how you just said,
okay.
yeah. So, just, let me know what's going on with, tell me about the whole booking experience, because that's what you do, right? Through Hex Promotions.
Right. As HexHeartPromotions, I am not only the promoter, I'm also I'm at the moment I'm kind of the full thing because we just lost our sound engineer. He moved I think to Colorado. But I still have my graphics designer. He's still here. I got me, the promoter. I'm also the MC, which I'm gonna have to work on that because one of the things I found out the last time I did a show, at the Spinnaker show, I can only use a certain amount of time on real music, or I could get sued for it. So I had to find out that I had to cut back on using Ladies and Gentlemen, the one by Saliva, which was the main thing I was using for talking for Hex, since Hex is mute, or he talks with sign language. So when the music plays, the lyrics are how he signs. But the problem with that is you can't do that over a long period of time, and you can't get famous from that because that's other people's music. So I had to figure out how to reenact that one. So I'm still working on that. But yeah, other than that, right now I'm just taking it easy. I'm really worried about the other place and Spinnakers because because we lost the Fat Cat here in Modesto, we are very limited on venues, and that's a real big thing that I'm worried about. I'm sure you already heard that we lost the boardwalk over there in Lower California, which really bothers me. I didn't even get to go to that, which sucks.
It's
but
down the street
yeah,
from my
we're
house.
limited on. So go on.
The venue, the boardwalk is actually like down the street from my house. So, yeah, it was pretty sad to see that it went up. But I mean, hopefully, somebody buys it and continues to leave it as the boardwalk, and keeps it going. Because I personally like playing there. That was the first venue I played in Sacramento that made me feel like I was doing something right before I started playing Diver or Ace of Spades, but still the Boardwalk is legendary.
That's actually one of the ones that I'm also kind of worried about was the Holy Diver. I mean, all these really big venues for the longest time was actually at risk. I'm pretty sure that I don't know if you saw this, but they had a save our venue um system for a little while where
Yeah.
who sent this to me. It was a member of the Hit and Run, or what was Hit and Run. He's now the member of Shet, SCHEDT. In the band, he said, if you really feel the need to go ahead and try to um fix or want to help out the venues to get things better, support your local venues, support your local music, support your local band, support, because that's the thing that's going to get us back on track. It's not as much money. One of the things there's a one of the things that one of the things that a few of my guests have said, and I'm quoting this, is that they said you can do more than just give us money. Go to our shows, buy our merchandise, word of mouth of what needs to happen. Get a support group. All these things can be used to help out the situation that we are currently having with our venues, with our musicians, with the promoters, with our artists in general. It's not just money. If you don't have any money, that doesn't mean that you can't support.
Yeah. So, what does it take to be a promoter or a booking person? Because I know there's people that always ask, "Oh, Ryan, like, how do you get shows, or do you book shows, or what do you do to get make tours happen?" And I tell them, either I'll call a venue and they'll link me to a promoter, or I'll talk to bands and get like another contact from a band, or something, or like in your case, how I've played a show that you were at and then you liked The Last Titan, so you found us on the internet, and then we became friends, and now whenever I come to Modesto, you're the guy that I hit up. So if someone wanted to be a promoter or a booking agent, or anything of that nature, how do you think they can do it, so that you can maybe help them out get into it?
You, you know what? I am so glad that you asked that question, because every single person, not every single person, but every single person that promotes or is in the business side of uh, booking or creating shows, I always ask, why are we not having a school for this? We have, and this is a quote that I am constantly told about, not just in the case of if you have problems with bands, but in general, is that there is a sea of musicians, there is a sea of bands, and there is a small amount of promoters.
Yeah.
And that is the truth above truth when it comes to both booking, when it comes to promoting, is that the reason we have such a low amount of shows here in Modesto is because just in the past few years alone, we lost, or they moved, 3 to 5 different promoters. I mean, we've lost Mike Vanek, we've lost Christy Pierce. um, Jill Ferris is now a parent. We've also found that Chris Ricky, the big one, is now running for politics. I don't know if he's still running, if he's still doing music, but for sure he's a politician.
Yeah.
Um, we have George Nightlife, and and me. There's also a few others here and there that like Scara, and maybe Nick Padilla. I don't know how much Nick Padilla does these days, given the
I think
fact
he's
that
done.
I haven't heard from anything from his shows. But all in all, we need in the future more people promoting, and that's probably the best. My idea would be the best course to get a much higher base of shows going, because if you don't have promoters, you don't have shows. I mean, you can have the bands promote themselves, and I've done those type of shows, but the problem with doing that is that it's sort of a catch-22, because you're trying to get money for your band, but then you're taking out money from your band to give to other bands. And then this sounds good in the long run, but it's defeating the purpose of the reason why you're getting your band to play for the show. Now, in the case of, now, let me tell you, I was not always a promoter, and I was not always a podcaster. In fact, I started podcasting fairly recently, and I've been promoting for about 3 years now. Other than that, I was working tech, and I was working door and all the other works that I could do. Believe it or not, I am what Brian Friend calls me, a multiple of hats, but multiple of job hats. The problem that we now face, and the reason this is such a big deal, is because there are people that want to work for shows, but there is nobody to ask. You can't go to a band and say, "Hey, I want to work on your show." They're gonna say, "Oh, well, we're not the one to talk. We're being hired too. So who do I talk to?" You could talk to the venue, and then before you know it, you go to the venue, and then they'll point you to a promoter. You can't do that now because there's so little promoters. Nobody knows who to go to anymore, and that is why I feel a school of promotion, we already have Modesto. We have Modesto Sound on Yosemite that teaches how to do tech. We have music schools that teaches how to play music. Why don't we have a school that teaches us how to actually promote? This is a version of business that is so important to the scene, and yet is so easily overlooked. So my personal opinion is, if you are going to go ahead, back to your question, if you are going to go ahead and be a promoter, there are not as much, quite a few steps, but there are quite a few steps that you have to prepare for. For example, when I started doing promoting, the things that I very much was told, and I very much overlooked this, was to go ahead and connect and to network. You want to talk to as much people as you can. And I do this even now, even though it's kind of sketchy, because you never know who you're gonna talk to. But you want to friend as much people as you can on networking websites, on Facebook, on Instagram, because these people are going to find out who you are, and they're going to find out who you're connected to and what you do, and that is how you're going to do. In fact, I have a multitude of almost 1,200 plus people on my Hex account alone, and all I'm doing is I'm connecting these people, and then after that I'm friending them straight to the website for HexHeartPromotions, and through that you've gained your connections. Nowadays, as much as I love to say word of mouth is good, unless you have excellent connections to excellent people, like whether you're just connecting and just take you guys for example, the last Titan. Now, for a band, it's really easy because you play for a bunch of people, but when in the course of time those people may dwindle out, may forget who you are, etc., 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 and at that point you may have gone to a whole city or a whole block of people to like a family or 3 families that recognize who you are, and plus your friends and family. The idea behind it is that that's not going to get you the connections where you need. You have to connect to everybody. And it was flat. It was sketchy for me because I'm not that big of a social person, but it's a good way to look at it, to build both a promotion page and a promotion uh what do you call it? You want to create a promotion uh site, you know what I mean, a promotion person for your account. You want to create a promotion account and then your personal account. My personal account has like 200 people. My promotion account has like over 1,200. And then by
Nice.
the merit of you running into people, by the merit of connecting to big people, by the merit of going into clubs and all these people having your business card and say, this is what I do, this is what I'm trying to do, can you connect to me, etc., etc., etc. By doing so, you will get better. And I've always said this. I've said this for three people now, and I'm going to say it once more. If you want to hang out, if you hang out with people on the low totem, you're going to be someone on the low totem. If you work with someone on the top tier, you're going to be someone of the top tier. The more that you connect with people higher than you, the more that you find that they raise the bar, the more that you go to raise the bar. And that is how that you become a promoter. That's how you become a better musician. That's how you become any sort of someone bigger than you are now, is that you network, you connect, you create, and then you go for it. And it's the four steps that through it all I've gotten a moderate amount of success. Now the problem is with me is that I have a disability. And I have no problem saying that because I'm 100% truthful with everyone when I talk about this. I have a disability, which makes it kind of difficult to almost like to go out there and be public. So for the idea for me to go out there and just, hey, check what I'm doing is not easy for me. So for a promoter to go out and risk it all, which is a really big thing that you're gonna find when promoting, is that you're either gonna really, really, really do well the first time, or you're really, really gonna suck the next 3 times. And unfortunately, I was the latter. My first show was behind the mirror, and that show unfortunately bombed badly. I had Harlot Exile on there. I had Paradigm Shift, and there's just there were a few of them that I tried to do my best to get out there, and it bombed so bad. Like I went up to them in tears, like, dude, I can't pay you. I'm really upset about this because no one showed up. And Harlot Exile, oh my god, these guys are so cool. Like they were like, you know what, we get it. You're a new guy. We didn't expect really to get as much from this one as much as the others. You really did well, the best you could, and we really do appreciate it. And I'm like, I was almost in tears because as a promoter, like I said, you are going to climb to the highest point, and you are jumping. Now, this metaphor is basically you are going to jump, and you are either going to succeed. You're basically parachuting. You are either going to leap off, and that parachute is going to work, and you are going to be amazing. You're going to be the coolest guy in the world. You did good, or you're going to fall to your death. And unfortunately, I've lost 3 lives so far.
Oh no!
When it comes to all of the, yeah, when it comes to promoting, it's all about getting back on the horse. It's not, yeah, you bombed, but you can't let that stop you. I don't know how many people I've complained to, or I've been in tears and said, I did it again. I failed again. Every single time I do this, I just can't get it working. And they're like, get back on that one, get back on the next one. You can't stop. No matter how many times that you fail, you can't just stop. Now, I mean, there are times where, you know, you can fail. There are positions you can have where you fail, but luckily promoting is not one of them that you can fail at and truly like worry that it's going to really affect you. It's only going to affect you if you let it affect you. Now working tech and working several different other positions, let me tell you that if you do something bad enough in the scene, you're gonna get blacklisted, and it's happened to me several times. Sad to say, and every time I worry that I'm gonna fail, I'm gonna fail. This would happen. Promoting has not been one of those because you are not answering to the scene. You're not answering to anyone higher than you. You're answering to the public. That's a double-edged sword, because while the public can go ahead and give you the worst reviews in the world and make it so you never come back, they can obviously be brutal in the fact that if they don't show up, they're not going to show up, and that can happen over and over and over again. It is an unpredictable tidal wave. Either you're gonna get tons of people, like in my 2020 show, where I had $200 of admission money that came in on a $5 cover charge, or you're gonna have my first show where you're gonna have no one. And in between that, all you can say, and you can either do this, because this is what I did for my sound engineer, that you can save up money as a buffer just in case, or you can go ahead and go the full and risk it all for the public. Now, luckily for me, I worked hard enough on my 2020 show that I actually did make enough money to pay the bands. But let me tell you, it's always a double-edged sword. You always have to be careful who you are doing. You always pay your bands. You never skip out on them. There are promoters that are labeled shady, and I'm not going to name a few. I'm not going to name any of them, but they're known that if you go ahead and hold back money, people are going to know. If you go ahead and do something shady, people are going to know. This is a very much reason why, as a promotion company, my motto is we stack the deck with respect. I have not once withheld any money, and if there is any point that I'm not going to make any money, I let everybody know, hey, you know what, we're not going to make any this time. I'm going to get back. I'm going to get you guys, and we'll touch base, and you know, I got you. One way or another, I got my bands. And there are times where it can be daunting. There are times where it can be construed as you being shady. There was a time where I was given a fraud charge, actually, because when I was creating my second show for Punk in the City, I was doing when I was first doing the show for when I was first doing my first show, I actually had Niviane on my bill, and apparently in the midst of trying to bring everything together, I found that Spinnakers was closing down for a small time, and when that happened, my flyer leaked. And a few members of one of the companies are like, dude, you're trying to pull a fast one on Norman Skinner of Niviane. We're not gonna let that happen. You better pull that back. And it just got into a heated argument with members, and before you know it, you know, I got iced by the bunch of the members. I had to get bailed out. and when I actually did the show through the icing, one of the members of said company saw that I was being truthful in what I was making happen, and I looked at her and I said, "You got this, right? You saw that I'm real. You saw that I'm trying to be a respectful promoter. You saw that I put the bands out there, and I am a legit trying to do this." And she said, "Yes, I see what you're doing. I will give your word." I have to say, there is no greater adventure than being a promoter. There is no greater danger than being a promoter.
So what you're saying is like, you found yourself in a really bad misunderstanding of like an accident, and somebody, tried dragging your name for it, and you had to prove yourself innocent. And because I know you do throw shows, in Modesto, and I know there are a ton of bands that play your shows. So I mean, I've heard people say some things before about like, oh, be careful and stuff, going through you because of like that situation that you're talking about. But to me, I'm like,
Right.
every time I've ever worked with him, he's always been really nice. He's always paid us out. Anything, literally anything. He would look at all the bands on the bill, divide it evenly, and be like, look, this is what I have. And every time it's just been a positive, reinforcement to me that it's a safe place to go play in Modesto and know that, we are going to make something better than nothing. Something else I'd like to bring up is when we played there last. Oh, no. Sorry, no, that's not what I was gonna say. So earlier you were saying that you were really distraught and upset that no one showed up to that or not Hellheart. What is it? It's
HexHeart.
HexHeart.
You're,
No, not
you're
HexHeart.
close.
No.
I've had that issues.
No, not HexHeart. The band that you were talking about that you were crying to because it's the first show that you were doing. Fuck.
Harlot Exile.
Harlot. Oh God, man, so many H's. It's confusing. So Harlot Exiled. So so many H's. God. So you're talking about like, oh, like you felt like a failure in that situation where you're like, I didn't bring enough people. Well, there's got to be a and I'm a pretty strong individual when it comes to understanding that it should never always be on just the promoter, because the promoter doesn't know everyone. The promoter doesn't know all the fans of the band that's coming through on a tour. Now, it is important for the promoter to know everyone in the local scene the best as possible. But in the event, that is why when you're booking a tour or you're, booking a show, you as a band and as an individual member in that band, if every member, every band, every promoter, every fucking person, even like the sound dude, maybe, I don't know, the fucking, even some of the bartenders, if they're a fan of that music, if everyone can fucking be like, yo, I'm gonna fucking play this show on this day at this venue, be there, or the bartenders can be like, oh, I can't wait, I get to bartend tonight with fucking Harlot Exile playing, come hang out with everybody and get some drinks. Like, that goes toe in toe. You have promoter and bands promoting that they're going to play a venue that's going to bring people. Those people are going to buy drinks, which in turn, hopefully they give the tips to the people serving them. And then the bartenders.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then if the bartenders decide to say, hey, I'm going to be fucking, I'll be at the other place tonight, serving some fucking drinks, come on through, there's going to be some awesome bands, and then tag all the bands in it, those people are going to see it and go, dude, that person's awesome, I'm going to come through. And so you have this massive amount of cross promotion all happening. But the thing is that people fucking lack that shit, and then they throw it on someone, and they'd rather blame it on someone like, oh, no one came out to our show because the promoter didn't do shit. It's like, you know what? if the promoter is a piece of shit, they're a piece of shit. But if the promoter fucking tried and your band just doesn't have any pull from wherever the fuck they're at, then don't get mad no one showed up. Don't get mad at all. How about you're happy that there's a stage for you to fucking play on instead of out in the fucking rain, in the dirt, or not at all? Like, we've played shows that there was only 5 people there. I've played a show where there was 2 people there. And then I played a show where no one was there besides the other bands. And at the end of every fucking night, it never mattered that no one was there. It mattered that we just got to fucking jam for 20 minutes and a fucking bunch of people that I've never met in other bands all enjoyed it. Now we're all friends. And now when I go play these places with these people, they have more friends show up. They have, like, even the members themselves are like, hey, we're not playing, but I'm going to come hang out and I'm going to bring 1 or 2 friends. It's like, that's the fucking point, is have fun. Like, people that don't have fun on tour drive me nuts, man. It's like, dude, you gotta have fun. Like, literally have fun. You're at a show. Why would you not have fun? Like, God, it's like, I don't know, man. Like, that just blows my mind. Like, I can understand, like, maybe if you're stressed out and tired. Okay, that's something different. But when you just push that away and be like, yeah, I'm just not having fun playing this show because there's no one.
Why are you there?
It's like, get your head out of your ass, dude. Like, for one, you're a small-ass band, so don't fucking trip. Maybe if you were, you know, a fucking massive band, you know, I could understand to a degree. But at the same time, if you're a massive band, then you should always have people at your show. Doesn't matter any day of the week. And you should be grateful that anyone is even there at all, because no one has to go. No one has to support you if they don't want to, you know?
Right. There's some people that don't. I mean, I know plenty of people that just aren't in the scene at all, and they just don't want to be in the scene.
They just don't want, exactly.
That blows my mind, but it's true.
Yeah, I mean, like, you would call them average listeners, you know? I mean, like...
average listener, there you go.
Yeah, like, that's all they are. It's just average listeners, and that's fine. Like, we need average listeners. You know, artists around the world
or honestly listeners. Worse, there's actually a few of those people that I know that won't go to our shows, even though they're part of our scene, but they'll go ahead and go to a bunch of the high-priced, the high-priced, you know, festivals. Coliseums playing Metallica, Falling in Reverse, or, you know, any of those big ones. You'll go ahead and go over to, like, those big bands, but you won't give an inch to your fellow quote scenesters.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. It is a little like, and at the same time, you know, that falls back on that whole double-edged sword concept, because, you know, you have these people that'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna go and, you know, go to this fucking A Day to Remember concert, or, you know, this Attila concert, but I'll never go to a fucking underground show. It's like, you think they're much farther? He's like, you think Attila is that much bigger than an underground show? Fuck, dude. They're considered underground when it comes to fucking Nickelback or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, the scale are 2 different fucking sizes. So what's the difference between us playing at the other place or playing at Holy Diver versus Attila playing Ace of Spades? What's the fucking difference? There's no fucking difference. Yeah, they write different music. Yeah, they have a different fucking whole entire, like, performance. But at the end of the day, it's live music. And sometimes,
my honest opinion, when go on, sorry.
No, sorry, no, you're good. I didn't know where I was going with
Okay, so when I first started this in 2015, let me give you a little bit of background. Do you mind?
Sure. Just remember, I don't edit anything, so don't say anything you don't want me to edit.
Nah, good. Okay. So when I first started coming here to Modesto,
yeah,
I literally did not know anybody. And it's not that I didn't know anybody because I moved. I moved out here, and then I went for years and still never knew anybody. Believe it or not, I went to Modesto Junior College. I ran into a bunch of so-called friends from high school. Actually, I started here in high school at my last year, and from there, I went to MJC, and I didn't know anybody. Still didn't know anybody. There are a bunch of I have a disability that's social, that makes it really difficult not only to make friends, but also to make like companions, like of any coin, of any part. I can't even get, when I was going to my classes, I couldn't even find a lab partner unless someone came up to me. I was just so hit by what I was dealing with. So for the past four years till 2013, all I was doing was hanging with the same three people that abused me. Like they like told me what to do, they told me where to go, told me what to see, told me what to think. And this was the same group of people that what you would traditionally see as your peer pressure friends. And I was dealing with them all the way up to about 2015, and then everyone split off, which thank God. If they had not, I probably would not be where I'm at today. So 2015, I'm starting, one of those guys goes and heads to military. And when he moves to military, I'm struck because that one guy who I was friends with is gone. So I'm like in a situation of just spinning out of control. At one point, I have the gulls to talk to Nathan Ignacio, the sound engineer of the Fat Cat, and I knew the Fat Cat. I knew the Fat Cat was a big venue that played concerts, but I could never actually go to a concert. I think I went to one concert before I started going into the scene, and that was a CPOD with an old high school friend. So what happened after that was Nathan Ignacio sends me a message saying, "Hey, how about we go ahead and get you set up working X Fest as a stagehand? We'll have you stay back and look at how things are going." I was stoked. I don't think I've ever been any more stoked in my life hearing something like that. Because I'm super into music, been super into music. I don't know how much music I've ever had on my MP3 player at one time, because it's just been an extreme number. So very music oriented. So I stopped by because I'm really a little bit too excited. So I head over to Fat Cat, and I run into Joe Ferris. That's the first time I talked to Brian Friend and a few of the other members. Brian Friend pulls me aside, and I give him my number because I know that he's the contact, and he and I were helping with moving things around. And that was a big thing that I was doing for a lot of the bands at Fat Cat, where I was moving equipment around. Traditional for a stagehand, right? You move equipment around, watching the door, stuff like that. So the more that I was doing that, the more I got into it, the more I started to made friends. And at one point, X-Fest comes around, and I'm told, meet over here, and we will let you in. I'm like, why? Because I'm thinking this is like the opportunity to, like, I don't know what's going to happen here. There is no amount of thought you can come into to have a greenhorn boy walk into an X-Fest meeting. So I get down there. We head into the lower capital of what's called the Bat Cave, and we start talking about X-Fest and who's going to do what. And I'm like, what am I doing here? At some point, Chris Ricky and Nathan Ignacio was there. We're talking. Brian Friend's talking. And at some point, we're deciding, what can you do? Chris Ricky looks at me and says, what can you do? Boy, did I feel so much shorter in that very instant. At some point, I'm like, you know what? I've done some studying. I can figure out how to handle some mute. I can handle some wiring. I know the basic of daisy chaining. Basically, they said, cool. You'll be working with Cleo. I'm like, what? Cleo, the Mad Felon, is the rap group of was my X Fest boss, and believe it or not, he actually got me the gig for X Fest on the gangster rap stage. And before
Nice.
you know it, I'm literally everyone shows up. This is like 12, like almost 1 o'clock afternoon on August. In August, it's really fucking hot, and the stage is empty. Like we've had this empty stage almost all day. Everyone's getting geared up. Someone brought me a breakfast sandwich, which was really cool, and a coffee. And finally, I'm just sitting on this stage, going, "Where is everyone?" Finally, everyone starts showing up. It's bringing in cabs. They're bringing in wiring, all this stuff. It says, "All right, do what you got to do." And I had that stage not only set up, working, sound blaring in about 10 minutes. That's
Great.
5 speakers, about 5 speakers, about 5 cables, all daisy chained and hooked up all at once, and I got music working. That's how you do it.
That's awesome.
So going from there, I did not know exactly where to go from there. That was the biggest thing for me. After that was, great, I worked on X Fest. Where do I go from here? And it was at that point that I ran into Mike Vanek. Mike Vanek actually stops me at a trap concert and said, "I'm the guy that you messaged. Meet me tomorrow at this time at Yosemite Spinnakers." Spinnakers was a dive bar and is a dive bar, but to me at the time it was, oh my god, I'm gonna walk into this place and I'm gonna get knifed, or I'm gonna get shot, or I'm gonna get beat up.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm a tiny sprite that doesn't know what the hell he's doing. As soon as that day is over, I am amazed. I have met nothing but losers. I have met Dragons of the West, which I am currently best friends of the former right now, Jeremy Cruz, he is a badass guitarist. He played at my 2020 show and he brought in the dough. I've met Jamie Salazar. I've met all of Nothing But Losers. I've met Brutal Innocence, where I first met Abe and Jenna, who are just like me, disabled individuals. So I felt really at home there. There is no sense of there's no sense of words to say how connected I was that night. And after that, Mike Vanek sent me a message telling me, get over here, get over here, get over here. It's always the same place, doing the exact same thing. At some point, I was a little bit worried because I kept having trouble connecting the system because I was a stagehand. I never got paid for it. That again, how could you get paid for free shows? I never understood that. How could I go over here and expect to get paid if these were free shows? He was doing free shows because he loved doing free shows, and because he was just almost like me, getting things going. If there was a point that money was being made, he was giving me what he could.
Yeah.
And honestly, right now, shout out to Mike Vanek, shout out to Bav Morta, shout out to Nothing But Losers, shout out to all my guys in the metal scene. I love you all. It's just you can't understand the connection between, unless you are the little guy, you cannot understand what it's like to go from going to college to going to a live scene and then working on it. I mean, the distance of one to the other is extreme.
Yeah.
In order for you to understand, that's like you going from high school to stopping by to stopping by a restaurant. You come in and inside is aftershock. I mean,
I don't
there
understand.
like that is the best way to put it. You can go from high school to college and be, I know very much. I don't know anything about the world, but I know enough to like walking into this and going, boom, that's it. I don't know anything at all. And
So
honestly, I have. Go on, go on.
okay, so I'm gonna stop you there so you can breathe for a little bit because you talked a lot for a little.
Thank you.
I have the same problem. I'll keep talking if no one stops me. So with the X Fest thing, have you thought with HexHeart running a stage, or does that take a lot?
I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
Does it take a lot? Like, so you have HexHeart Promotions. Have you ever thought about having a stage to run at X Fest? Is that something that you can do?
That you have to have asked. You have to ask the most overrun question in my mind at that very moment. I have to say, honestly, I don't know how many times I've been asking myself that. It's like, you know what? I'm doing this. I'm doing this. When is it time? When is it time? And the honest answer is that the time that I will make an actual stage for X Fest or one of the big ones is when the time comes that these festivals actually do return in the right extremities. One of the things that I'm constantly reminded is that the I the festival scene is slowly starting to deteriorate. And I don't really believe that, given the fact that we have, all this amazing talent. But it actually is true if you think about what it's like to be in like the actual big time. Because the problem with that is that we lost Fat Cat. Fat
Yeah.
Cat was the connecting factor to X Fest. Was a continuing factor to Lucky Fest, to the summoning. Fat Cat was run by Chris Ricky, and Chris Ricky the was the point that drove along these festivals. Now that Chris Ricky and the Fat Cat is no longer around to supposedly run these festivals, it's really hard to tell when that will be. But let me tell you, I'm constantly questioning if and when that will be a benefit to HexHeart Promotions, because one of the things I'm often told, and actually Jill Ferris actually gave me this notice. She actually said that in situations like these, it's best to do the bar shows, because bar shows are where people are going to be coming a lot more often and a lot more people, versus festivals where you only have 2 days to pack a whole lot of people into one area. Let me tell you, I've been paid a lot more times by bar shows and concerts than I have been ever paid by festivals. I don't think I've there was one festival that I was paid for, and it wasn't in the scene. It was actually by Sound Encore, a different festival venue that put on the Asparagus Festival in Stockton. I was paid $300. Now, in the
Nice.
extreme amount of numbers, that is low compared to when you're getting paid versus like X Fest versus Lucky Fest versus summoning. I usually go there to work those festivals because I want to actually go to them and enjoy them or bring people along to them versus bar shows where I know that I'll see people I care about. They'll be at these shows. It's gonna be a fun time. I'm probably not gonna have to spend a lot of money if I really don't want to. And in some cases, I don't have to spend any money because I got the stagehand.
Yeah.
So all in all, if you want to stack the the positives and negatives, I have to give it to bar shows, and that's the reason why right now I can't say that I would actually do stages for festivals because all in all, I can't see the really big thing about them, except that you're walking around the same stage because that's what you do. You'd create you'd you'd bring up the stage and then you'd have to stick around the stage because what if something goes wrong? What if something happens? What if, boss has to contact you?
Yeah.
You know? It's just the it's just the things to think about, but trust me, the thoughts have been there multiple times. It's
I
just,
think you should do it.
I yeah, yeah. Honestly, I have thought many times about doing it. I have multiple times looked into it, and it's not there. It's not there. Maybe okay. Let me rephrase that. It's not there right now. Maybe when we have a lot more promoters coming around. Maybe when we have a lot more people playing. When we have a lot more money coming in. Maybe then. Maybe after. Devil's advocate, maybe after COVID, people will get up and realize what they lost, and then we'll have more people coming to these festivals.
Yeah.
But not now.
Yeah. So I think I remember like 2 years ago or 3 years ago they did the last X Fest. Is X Fest like actually completely done?
For now, I have to say that for now, there is X Fest elsewhere. Like I know that Chris Ricky may be trying to do things more in like the East Bay area, but right now for our area or the area in Modesto, yes.
Damn.
As far as to my knowledge,
Bring it back. You can do it. You can bring it back.
right? Yeah, definitely bring it back. But yeah, for right now, because of especially because of COVID, like we can't even have bar shows right now, let alone fall festivals. So I think once COVID like actually pulls back more, the people that were missing music will notice what they lost and will be more apt to not lose it again, and they'll want to go to festivals, want to go to bar shows, etc., etc., etc. The only way for us to make sure that this happens is support local music, support your bands, support the local promoters, support your artists, support your venues, support your your stagehands, promote everyone that connects you to your local scene,
Yeah.
because right now we are all very much hurting. We are all very much like driving each other insane because we are playing all this music and we got it all geared up and we want to play, but we can't right now, and it's harming all of us. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure it's also hurting you too, Ryan, given the fact that you're in the Last Titan as well. You want to go out there and play also.
Yeah, I miss being on stage. That's for sure. It's been over a year officially. The last show we had was March 8th at the Boardwalk. Oh wow, that makes me really sad. The last show I played was at the Boardwalk. Fuck.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, right. That's a double pain in the ass. But I'm gonna take off
Pain in the
right
ass and
now.
pain in the heart.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you go though. I really appreciate the time that you've given me and the conversation that we've had when it's been, I think, mainly you just talking the whole time. But I enjoyed it. It was great to hear so
Oh,
much
good.
from you.
It's important.
What was that?
Honestly, I really enjoy being an interviewer as much as a host. So I do want to thank you for allowing me to be on. I'm taking time out of your schedule to go ahead and do this. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. We'll have to do another one for your little podcast stuff because I know I have a little podcast and
Oh,
your
for sure,
podcast
for
is
sure.
little,
I
so
look forward to that.
we gotta grow our podcast because we're still at the beginning of our journeys.
That's true.
All right, thank you very much. I
All right.
appreciate
Well,
it.
then I will let you go. And,